Hello guys, so it's Essen and I'm back with my Docker series and tutorials. I'm sorry I was a bit away for a short time. I had some university things to manage with. So today I have something really special in the bank for you. This might be a bit small tutorial, but that's really an essential feature these days. And I believe if you want to excel in DevOps or in basically any kind of web application development, you should be familiar with Nginx as a web server because it's really amazing. And that's what we are going to be talking about today. So let's get started. And Nginx, what is Nginx? So basically, Nginx is nothing, but it's just a web server. Yeah, simple as that. Just like Apache, you've been using and any other kind of things. And probably you heard of Nginx somewhere because it's pretty famous these days, and it's used by Netflix and even GitLab as well. So yeah, and that's because it has a lot of reasons to be used. So let's get started and let's get, I will not give you a very detailed idea about what Nginx is and how it does everything in this tutorial because I want to keep this short, but I will basically give you a basic idea of what Nginx is and how we can run a static HTML page in Docker, which is the point of this series about doing various things with Docker or developing a main microservices-based architecture with Docker. So first, I would like to tell you a little bit more about Nginx. So Nginx is basically just an open source web server that since its initial success as a web server is now also used as a reverse proxy in HTTP caching and as mainly the load balancer. And the load balancing feature is what I love the most about it, and some high-profile companies like Autodesk, Atlassian, or GitLab, as I mentioned earlier, Salesforce, VMware, many of them are using Nginx for several different needs of their business. So Nginx was originally created by Igor Sayev, that's his pronunciation, and he publicly released it in, I think, 2004, sometime there. And basically, this was designed to answer the C10K problem. And C10K problem is basically just a network problem to provide access to a system or something. And network sucks to handle a large number of clients at the same time from different at one server, and you can have multiple clients and several clients at the same time. This is called a CKDN problem, but we're not going to go details into that. So that's what it was designed. So the basic idea that we can take away from this is that it was basically designed to be an optimizer for the web service, right? If we're having many clients, and that's what the need of this current times are. Yes, there's a huge user base for almost every big website. So let's talk a little bit about how Nginx is really working. So Nginx is built to offer low memory usage and high concurrency. Rather than creating new processes for each web request, what Nginx is especially doing is that it uses an asynchronous event-driven approach where requests are handled in a single thread. And just amount of words, event-driven approach where requests are handled in a single thread, and that's, I think conceptually you can understand what I mean by that. And that basically helps Nginx to be serving requests pretty faster. And with Nginx, one master process can control multiple worker processes. So the master maintains the worker processes while the workers do the actual processing. So that's an interesting point. And Nginx is asynchronous, so each request can be executed by a worker concurrently without blocking other requests. And that's an interesting read that I'm doing from the dockers of Nginx because it's really an interesting point. So I prepared a little bit of slides there so I can explain what main functions it can do for you. Yeah, gladly it shows up. So firstly, credits to this website that I'm using here to show my stuff. Anyway, there are several Nginx features that I would love to highlight. The first one is as I explained to you, it acts as a reverse proxy. And reverse proxy, the benefits of reverse proxies are huge, and I will get into very much details into it later. And it has support for IPv6, which is really great, and it has some load balancing, which is exhibited by its name, that it balances your load on different distributed servers. You have distributed cluster, like one server, you have your application divided on several servers, and different services can collaborate together as a distributed system cluster to get your request done. So you can have it spread there, and there's you can have this load spread in between there, and WebSockets, and well handling of static files, and it has some sort of auto indexing, so your web server or your website can be ranked very well by Google's algorithm. So there's a lot of reasons to use Nginx, to be honest. So now let's come back to our main point of this tutorial, which is just about how can we use a simple HTML page to run it on Docker, right? It's so simple. So let's try get into it. Oh, I have it and I didn't need it. This is something different. So let me go to my terminal, and let's first fastly get into my so I'm sorry. So yeah, so since, if you remember, we're building our application there, and let's get to the front end. So that's where we were going to be talking about the front end of the application. So I like to clear my screen a little bit. So yeah, oh yeah, nothing is there, which is good. So I'm going to open this up into Visual Studio Code. And okay, so it's up. So I'm going to create a new file here that's going to be called index.html, right? So in index.html, you can say you have your doc type. Okay, that's it. And then you have your HTML tag, and then your head tag, and you can have your, I'm not really good with HTML, so please don't judge me on it. I can just have my body, and I can say h1, that's my first Nginx app. First app built on Nginx would be a much better way to say it. So first, I'm just going to do a small thing here. I'm going to test that if page is correct, because I need to test my HTML skills. So yes, I'm checking on my second screen. Yes, it's correct. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is going to be that I'm going to run this on Docker, which is the point of it and the main idea behind that. So so in this folder, we're going to go ahead and create a Docker file, as we've been doing. So if you don't know what Dockerfile is and what Docker is, you have to head to my previous videos in the series. As you can see, there's a playlist number that's going on with these videos. So the first thing that we're going to do with the Dockerfile is that we're going to say simple Nginx. You know, I can just show you again. How do I go here? This is the image that you're going to find on Docker Hub. And that's the image, the official image, which is there on the Docker Hub. You can just pull it here. And I hope you know what I mean, what these things mean. If you don't, just head back to my previous videos and you'll get a good idea. So I just want to run it on a lightweight Linux, which is Alpine. And I think I have that in my Docker images already. Let me see if I have it. Oh, I'm not going to use Docker here. I'm going to use Docker. I was using here, but that's a better way to see Docker. Okay, which containers am I running? I need to just check that. Okay, there's a lot of stuff there. So Docker images. So I do have an Alpine tag there, so it should be fine. Okay, so then we are going to say something interesting, just that, you know, you remember this copy command, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to say copy my index.html file, or I can just dot, or because there's just dot one HTML file running there. I can say index.html, or I can say dot. So I prefer dot right now. So to user/share/ Nginx/html. So I hope you know what it means. So I'm going to copy my HTML file to the Nginx HTML file as an index file. And as soon as I run this image, it's going to show me a simple HTML file running on an Nginx web server. So we will get into details about load balancing and everything in the next videos, but right now let's just keep it short and simple. So let me check. Yeah, that's my files there. So now I'm just going to build that Docker image. Docker build. Yeah, and I'm going to say it into Nginx app. So let's build it. Oops, sorry, I had to press dot there because I was in the current directory. So guys, as you can see, it's going to pull it up. Okay, done. That is great. So our image is built. And guys, do you see how lightweight this was? Like I didn't have this image of Nginx already in my system. I just did it in front of you. So it just downloaded everything that's related to Nginx server, which is great, right? Pretty lightweight. So then let's just run our image as we've been doing usually. And I'm going to say docker nginx and -p. Now, -p, as I remember, is the port number. So I'm going to run it on 9000 from 80 because Nginx will supposedly run it on 80. So I can say Nginx application. What I named it? Oh, I did Nginx app. So let's try. Let's hope it works fine. Oh, unknown flag, and I supposedly didn't have that there. Oops, I forgot that. That is great. So our image is running. So let's head back to the browser and let's hit localhost 9000. Voila, guys. So that's it. That's great, right? Now you have your Nginx up and running, and simple as that. You can just build your website with just 2 lines of Dockerfile. You didn't need to install anything or in your system and set up any kind of configurations. That's the best part about Docker, right? So now I'm going to go in the next video. I'm going to build an Angular or maybe a React front end, which will be hosted on Nginx, and that will be the front end of our application. So stay tuned and see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.